Hey Steelers Nation, buckle up because today I've got an exclusive inside look that you won't find anywhere else. A story about Aaron Rodgers that really shows what kind of presence he's bringing to Pittsburgh. Now, it's not your usual headline stuff. This is about the little moments that speak volumes, moments that tell you just how deep his commitment runs and how he's already shaping this team beyond just throwing footballs. Yesterday's training session at St. Vincent, college ran unusually long, nearly 20 minutes longer than usual. If you're not an athlete, that might sound like nothing, but trust me, in the heat of camp, those extra minutes weigh on everyone. The players start to get tired, a little irritable, and tempers begin to simmer, and sure enough, about halfway through, things got a bit physical. A few shoves, some pushing, nothing to blow out of proportion, but enough to feel the tension in the air. I was hanging out at the far end of the field, the one opposite from where the usual interviews happen, just watching the action unfold. There was only one other person down there with me, Terrell Austin. He was keeping a close eye on the defensive guys, eager to see how they'd handle a 7-on-7 drill coming up. You see, in these drills, the defense often has the edge because they're allowed to be aggressive, to cheat a bit, and really try to rattle the offense. Rodgers, true to form, didn't ease off at all. Even in drills, he's all in, demanding everything from himself and his teammates. Early on, he threw a crossing route to Roman Wilson right in the end zone. Wilson, to his credit, managed to get a good step ahead of Brandon Echols, the defender. Trying to cover him, Echols was forced to cheat a little to keep up, which led to a tug on Wilson that disrupted the route. Pretty common in camp settings where players are still feeling out each other's moves. What happened next was classic defensive grit. Echols managed to get his right hand on Rodgers' pass just enough to deflect it. It wasn't a huge play, just part of the drill. But Austin quipped that if this had been a real game, it would have been defensive pass interference, and honestly, he wasn't kidding. Echols has been one of the standout defenders this camp, not just because of his skills, but because he's brought this fiery, scrappy energy that's hard to miss. He's been feisty, aggressive, even a bit mouthy, which makes him a fascinating player to watch. After that deflection, Echols and Wilson started walking back toward the line of scrimmage. But Echols didn't just walk. He followed Wilson closely, almost too close for comfort, even though Echols was facing away from me and I couldn't hear everything he was saying. It was clear he was baiting Wilson, saying something that clearly struck a nerve with Rodgers. Rodgers, who was facing my way, didn't hesitate to jump in. Loud enough for the 200 or so people gathered on the hillside behind me to hear. He snapped, "Don't talk to my player, talk to me." What followed was a quick back and forth I couldn't catch. But the message was clear. Rodgers was asserting himself not just as the quarterback, but as the team's leader, a guy who demands respect for his players and isn't afraid to step in and set the tone. What really struck me in that moment was Rodgers saying, "I love you, but don't talk to my player." That line hit different because it showed the respect and love he has for his teammates, but also his protective side. And just like that, everything stopped. The tension evaporated, and the team got back to business as if nothing had happened. If you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Echols can jaw with Wilson, Calvin Austin, even DK Metcalf when the mood strikes. But when he crosses the line into Rodgers' territory, the four-time MVP, Hall of Famer in his 21st season, the game changes. That moment reminded me that leadership isn't just about calling plays or throwing touchdowns. It's about owning the locker room, commanding respect, and keeping the peace when things get heated. I caught up with Echols after practice, and he was all smiles. He didn't seem bothered at all by Rodgers snapping at him. In fact, he loved it. Echols sees this opportunity in Pittsburgh as a fresh start, a chance to recapture the fire and confidence he had before tough years in New Jersey knocked him down. Being part of a team with players like Jalen Ramsey, one of the best trash talkers in the league, fits right into his vibe. He's thriving in this competitive, high-energy environment, and it shows. Earlier in the day, Rodgers spoke with reporters about Roman Wilson, and his comments were telling. He said Wilson needs to stop overthinking, to get out of his own head, and just play his game. Rodgers encouraged him not to try so hard to please coaches, or even Rodgers himself, but to be comfortable in his skin. And sure enough, Wilson responded by having one of his best days in camp. Over the summer, I shared a lot of concerns about Rodgers' motivation, whether he'd be fully committed to another NFL season after everything he's been through, and whether he'd buy into something bigger here in Pittsburgh without prior ties. But what I've seen from him in minicamp and now in training camp has completely flipped my perspective. Rodgers isn't just here to be a quarterback. He's here to lead, to be the emotional and strategic captain of this team, setting an example both on and off the field. The way he steps into moments like the one with Eccles and the way he pushes younger players like Wilson to grow shows he's invested in more than just stats. He's invested in culture and legacy. This kind of leadership takes time to build, especially with a team that's in transition and full of young talent hungry to prove themselves. Rodgers is making it happen faster than anyone expected. Within a month, he's already become the kind of leader that changes the entire vibe around the facility. And it's not just Rodgers. The Steelers have been quietly assembling a defense that's loaded with talent and attitude. With Jalen Ramsey joining the fold and new schemes focusing on coverage and versatility, the secondary is shaping up to be a major strength this year. Eccles' emergence is part of that story. He's carving out a role as not just a solid cornerback, but a voice and energy source on the field. The competition in camp is fierce, but it's also creating the perfect pressure cooker for growth. Guys like Brandon Porter have surprised with how often they're lining up close to the line of scrimmage and taking on tough assignments. And then there's Beanie Wells, another player quietly grinding to make an impact. Beanie might not be grabbing headlines, but he's been a steady contributor on special teams and is fighting hard to carve out a role in the defensive rotation. His experience, combined with flashes of big plays last season, means he's not going anywhere anytime soon. At 25 years old, he's still got plenty of time to prove himself. This depth is crucial for a team looking to compete week after week in the NFL. Special teams matter just as much as defense or offense, and players like Beanie help keep the Steelers competitive in all phases of the game. His attitude and work ethic are exactly what the coaching staff wants to see. All these pieces coming together, Rodgers' leadership, the defensive talent stepping up, and the younger guys pushing their limits, are shaping a Steelers team that feels more dynamic and determined than in recent years. The camp atmosphere might have its moments of tension, but underneath it all is a sense of focus and purpose. What you're seeing isn't just preparation for games. It's the foundation being laid for a team that believes it can compete at the highest level, with leaders who hold everyone accountable and players who aren't afraid to challenge each other to be better. The energy around the Steelers this training camp feels different, almost electric, and it's clear that the players themselves recognize it. They know they're part of something special brewing here. Something that goes beyond just wins and losses. This is about building a culture, a mindset, and having a leadership core that elevates everyone on the roster. Aaron Rodgers is at the heart of that transformation, but he's not alone. The ripple effect of his presence is pushing the entire roster to new levels, challenging veterans and rookies alike to step up. One thing that's impossible to ignore is how Rodgers carries himself. He's not just tossing passes and calling plays. He's a mentor, a motivator, and at times the emotional thermostat for the team. Watching him on the field, you get the sense that he's playing chess, not checkers. He's analyzing, adjusting, and communicating constantly. What's even more impressive is how he balances that mental intensity with an approachable, almost fatherly demeanor when interacting with younger players. He understands that leadership isn't just about commanding respect. It's about earning it through trust and genuine connection. Take Roman Wilson, for example. Rodgers' push for Wilson to shed self-doubt and play freely isn't just empty advice. It's part of a bigger picture. Rodgers knows firsthand what it means to battle mental hurdles and come out stronger. His encouragement is coming from a place of experience, and Wilson's response so far has been promising. He's showing flashes of the potential that made the Steelers invest in him, and you can tell that Rodgers' faith is a big part of that growth. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could be one of the most unexpected moves of the NFL offseason, rumors began swirling this morning as star quarterback Trevor Lawrence was reportedly seen entering the Pittsburgh Steelers headquarters. Sources close to the situation claim that Lawrence, who has spent his entire career with the Jacksonville Jaguars, arrived in Pittsburgh under tight security, fueling intense speculation about a potential blockbuster deal. While no official confirmation has come from either the Steelers or the Jaguars front office, eyewitness accounts describe Lawrence walking into the facility with his agent and what appeared to be a team executive. The scene quickly attracted media attention and a crowd of onlookers, with fans snapping photos and shouting questions that went unanswered. Although the Steelers already have Kenny Pickett and recently acquired Russell Wilson in a controversial move, insiders suggest the organization might be looking for a long-term solution under center, especially given the inconsistency seen in recent seasons. The sight of Lawrence at the Steelers facility is enough to send shockwaves across the league, leaving fans and analysts alike questioning whether a seismic trade or free agency twist is imminent. As the NFL world holds its breath, the possibility of Lawrence donned in black and gold has become the topic of heated debate. Adding fuel to the speculative fire, several social media accounts allegedly belonging to Steelers staff members posted cryptic messages shortly after Lawrence's arrival. One post, quickly deleted, showed a photo of a gold helmet with the caption, "New Era," sparking widespread theories that the team is preparing to unveil a monumental shift in their quarterback strategy. Lawrence's unexpected visit comes just days after reports surfaced about growing tension between the quarterback and Jaguars management, specifically regarding the team's offensive direction and recent draft choices. While those rumors had been brushed off by Jacksonville officials as overblown, today's events lend them new weight. Some insiders claim that the Steelers have been quietly laying the groundwork for a potential acquisition, possibly involving a multi-team trade that would shake up rosters across the AFC. Adding to the intrigue is the silence from Lawrence himself, who declined to speak with reporters upon entering the building. This calculated silence has only intensified the speculation, with many now wondering if Pittsburgh is on the verge of pulling off one of the most surprising moves in recent franchise history. Though nothing has been confirmed, the atmosphere in the Steel City feels like the calm before a potentially historic storm. Meanwhile, in Jacksonville, the reaction has been a mix of disbelief, concern, and quiet acceptance among fans and analysts. Local media outlets have begun dissecting Lawrence's recent interviews and social media activity, searching for clues that might have foreshadowed his possible departure. Some have pointed to his lukewarm endorsement of the team's offseason moves, while others cite his body language during mandatory minicamp as evidence of a deeper dissatisfaction. The Jaguars' front office has remained tight-lipped, issuing a brief statement saying they have no comment at this time. This only serves to fan the flames of speculation, especially considering that Lawrence was not scheduled to travel this week, according to the team's calendar. Sports talk shows across the country are now dominated by discussions about the feasibility and implications of such a move, with theories ranging from a blockbuster trade to a free agency loophole that would allow Lawrence to negotiate outside traditional channels. Regardless of the mechanism, the sheer possibility of a quarterback of Lawrence's caliber joining the Steelers is enough to send tremors through both fan bases. Analysts are beginning to question what this might mean for the AFC playoff landscape, which could shift dramatically if this rumor proves true. The idea of Trevor Lawrence wearing black and gold has created a ripple effect across the NFL, triggering a flurry of reactions from players, coaches, and insiders alike. Several anonymous executives have admitted that whispers of a possible Steelers move for a franchise quarterback have been circulating for weeks, though no one expected it to materialize. This soon, or this boldly, former players have weighed in on social media, with some praising Pittsburgh for making an aggressive push, while others caution that adding Lawrence could disrupt team chemistry. The Steelers, long known for their conservative and methodical approach to team building, appear to be stepping out of character if these rumors hold water. This has led some to believe that internal pressure, possibly from ownership or coaching staff frustrated with recent postseason droughts, may be driving a more assertive strategy. The financial implications are also being dissected, with experts debating how such a move could be structured under Pittsburgh's current salary constraints. There's even talk of Lawrence taking a restructured deal to facilitate the transfer. While nothing is certain, the excitement and tension are palpable, and the entire league seems to be bracing for an announcement that could reshape the power dynamics in the AFC for years to come. As of now, all eyes remain fixed on Pittsburgh's Southside Complex, where Lawrence's presence continues to generate buzz and unease. Helicopters have been spotted hovering above the facility, and news vans line the street outside, hoping to capture even the smallest detail. Fans wearing Lawrence's Clemson jersey have already begun gathering outside, daring to dream that a generational talent might soon lead their storied franchise. Yet despite the frenzy, neither Lawrence nor the Steelers have issued any statement, maintaining a wall of silence that only heightens the mystery. Insiders are now closely monitoring league office activity, watching for any filings or procedural movements that might signal an impending announcement. The NFL itself has declined to comment, citing policy on ongoing negotiations. However, history has shown that where there's smoke, there's often fire. While it's entirely possible that this is a strategic meeting or even a misdirection, the optics suggest otherwise. If Lawrence does sign with the Steelers, it could mark one of the most dramatic and consequential quarterback moves in recent memory. Until then, speculation reigns supreme and the sports world remains on edge, waiting for confirmation of what could become a defining moment in NFL history. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.